Should we talk about some books? Hey, hello. My name's Hannah and I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today we're doing the book tag video, the mid-year tag. I personally have been inspired by Jamie, Bree and Katie to do this. I think it's a really great time to just sort of look at what I've been reading. What have I been focusing on? What have I been neglecting? Should I be approaching my TBRs and my reads differently? Or am I just smashing it? Let's talk about it. So it's currently the 11th of July, so we're a little bit past the middle of the year. I believe so far this year, as per my Fable stats, I have read 52 books. I am on track, I think, to complete my 100 book goal, which is not reflected in these stats because originally I set a 25 book goal because I've never read 100 books in a year in my life, but things have changed quite drastically over the past few months and reading is my life. So that's where we're at in terms of this year so far. I think I have 15 questions to get through. Some of them are the standard book tag questions that people revisit every year, and others I have taken from Katie's video. So I'm mixing the two together. Anyway, let's just talk about it. Let's start with the first question. Let's go. Question number one. The best book you've read so far this year. I haven't looked at the reading library and what I've read and what I've logged. I've literally just thought about it. I've thought, what have I enjoyed the most this year? This series is going to crop up a few times, I think. The book that I've gone with is The Throne of Broken Gods by Amber V. Nicole. This is the second book in the Gods and Monsters series, which follows the Book of Azrael, and this is probably my favourite book that I've read so far this year. I love this series, and this book in particular just took me on a bloody journey. The characters are going through so much in this book, and we build so many relationships and families and found family, and it's just wonderful. I absolutely loved the chaos, the female rage, the wrath that you get in here. I absolutely loved it because at this point we've already built the world up. So you know it's unbelievable. It's brilliant. I just don't want to say anything else about it because obviously you have to read the Book of Azrael and have a good idea about what that's about to understand why this is a masterpiece. And that's my opinion. This is the best book I've read so far this year. I'm not sure why I put it down. The second question is the best sequel you've read so far this year, and that is this. Yeah, obviously this is book number 2. So yeah, I am just using both of those questions for this book because I don't want to lie to you and say this is the best sequel I've read, because it's not. This is it. This is the best sequel that I've read this year. It's also the best book that I've read this year, and I am just obsessed with this series. I read it on Kindle and then purchased the books that are out so far because I love it. Question number 3 is new releases that you haven't read yet but want to. I have chosen 2 books for this prompt. The first one is Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab, and I know that this is toxic lesbian vampires. And that's all I need to know. I also haven't actually read anything by V. Schwab, and I'm excited to. I'm actually really excited to get to this one. Can't wait to read this. And then my other one is actually an Ali Hazelwood new release, and it is Problematic Summer Romance. And this does have some mixed reviews, but I'm not sure why. I love this cover. I think this is like one of the most modern, sort of like attractive covers that she's done so far. So I'm just so excited to get to it. I know that it's an age gap and that's all I know. But it's new. I haven't read it yet because I am saving it for the purest of summer vibes. And yeah, that's that one. Question number 4 is the most anticipated release for you for the rest of 2025. I have a few. I would say that the 4th book in the Gods and Monsters series is obviously up there. Can't wait for that. And we've spoke about that series enough already, and we're not done talking about it, so let's move on. The second book that I am extremely excited for is the second book in the Boucher series, following Vane and Vow. When I originally read it on my Kindle, it said that the second book was coming in August 25, but I'm not sure if that's still the case because I can't find any information on it online. So I'm excited to know when that's going to be here. The third release that I am super excited for is actually a traditional publishing, and that is Metal Slinger, which comes out around my birthday sometime in September, and I have already read it, but I can't wait to, I'm going to be on a birthday high. I'm going to go to Waterstones, I'm going to pick it up, and then I'm going to read the last couple of chapters and the epilogue and a snippet into the next book. That I'm so excited to do that. It's like I have just planned the day in my head already, 3 months early. But yeah, those are my most anticipated releases for the rest of the year. Biggest surprise of the year. I have two, and one of them is positive and one of them is negative. The positive one is, of course, the Book of Asriel. I have heard people speak about this, but I haven't heard them talk about it with the ferocity and passion that I speak about it with. So I think I was expecting it to be okay, maybe a 4-star, but I wasn't expecting the series to become an obsession. So definitely was surprised by this. And my second biggest surprise was my disappointment, which is Our Infinite Fate by Laura Stephen. I was hoping to absolutely love this just because of what I've seen in terms of people's reviews. I think initially when it first came out and lots of people reading it, it was so overwhelmingly positive that I went in with some expectations of, wow, this could be great and really emotional and life-changing. And then as I got closer to reading it, because I'd put it on my TBR and I was about to pick it up, at that point I started seeing some more negative reviews and people saying that you just can't believe what you read on the internet these days because it's actually not as enjoyable as a lot of people were originally making out. And I know it's subjective, but yeah, disappointed me massively. Will be actually getting rid of this. It'll be on my vintage soon. Question number 6 is favourite new author to you this year. So that could be a new to you author or a debut author. And it's not a debut author, but she's definitely new to me, and that is Abby Jimenez. I have read this trilogy interconnected situation that she's got going on, which involves Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer. And I have been obsessed with every single one. I also have Say You'll Remember Me on my shelves, and I will get to that at some point. But yeah, Abby Jimenez writes in a way that just makes such like a roller coaster of a reading experience. She can build romances and characters that make you feel like you're reading and watching a real life story of two people that belong together and deserve each other. And on top of that, she does some really great representation in terms of toxic families and family drama. These books for me are like the definition of more than a romance book because they make me think about life and what I deserve and what everyone deserves. And yeah, I just absolutely love her writing and everything that I've read from her so far. She's now probably an auto-buy author for me. Love you, Miss Abby Jimenez. Question number 7 is my newest fictional crush, and I actually struggled with this one because I'm not sure that I have obsessions with characters the way that some people do, and they might sort of gravitate towards a certain male character because of his behaviour and how he treats someone and whatever, but that's not very me, to be honest. But if I had to choose, I would say one of them is definitely Bo from Out on a Limb, because why are you the sweetest person ever and also absolutely hilarious? The reason why I picked this one is because if I could pick anyone to be, like female wise, if I could be any female in some of the books that I've read this year, I would choose to be Wyn so that I could be with him. So I guess you could say that he is probably number 1 of 2 for me. And the second one is Henry from Anna Grace Daydream. And I have spoke about this before. Recently was telling my friends about it actually, that there is a specific scene in one of the spicier scenes in this book, and Henry does something that is so specific to Hallie that might not be considered intimate by everyone. I'm just trying to think of how to say this without telling you what it is. Essentially, he does something and it's something that could be nothing, and to a lot of people it will mean nothing, but to me, it was everything, and I absolutely loved what he did in that one scene. It stays with me now, and I love it. Maybe my boyfriend should read this book. The next question is a book that made you cry, and I don't think it is going to be a surprise to anyone that my choice for this is anything written by Kristen Hanna. So in January I read The Nightingale, and then I think it was in March or May I read The Women, and both of these books made me absolutely sob. I sobbed. This one, I think I'm literally sobbing on TikTok reading it at one point, and then this I sobbed in private in my bedroom by myself like a sad little woman. This is not new information, but if by some chance you don't know who Kristen Hannah is or what she writes about or how people feel about her writing, she is absolutely unbelievable at making you feel for a character or a scenario. And of course, these books are set in wars, so we feel a lot of the things that they feel and we feel for them. It's just crazy, and I have spoke about it before on this channel, but Kristen Hannah can move you emotionally like nothing I have ever read. Cannot wait to pick up more books from her, and if you want an emotional roller coaster read that stays with you, read these because they're bloody crazy. We're on to question number 9, and this question is a book that made you happy, and I've picked my most recent read actually, which is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mehra. And I absolutely loved this book. I haven't read anything that sort of like made me understood what cozy fantasy was, and that's exactly what this is. And when I say cozy, I mean like there is stakes and sort of things to lose, and like you're still gonna feel all that, but it's done in a setting that is also fun and full of banter, and you find yourself laughing and smiling and rolling your eyes at some of the things that these characters say and do just because their personalities are so warm, and you don't often find that in fantasy books. So this was just so refreshing and fun to read. I am definitely going to continue the series, and yeah, it's just interesting actually how she's made so many dark things so fun and full of banter. I really loved this, and it definitely made me happy. Look at my face, I'm so smiley. Moving on to question number 10, which is the most beautiful book that you have purchased. And I have purchased a few beautiful hardbacks this year. Some of them you have seen so far. Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is stunning. I think Our Infinite Fates is beautiful. I really love this copy that I have actually of Spellbound, which is a kind of like, it's indie at the minute, but it's something that I've not seen a single person speak about, and I think this is absolutely gorgeous. We have a black sprayed edge. I think this is my favourite sprayed edge I've ever seen actually. Absolutely love this cover. But my favourite beautiful book at the minute is actually a more summer read, and it is Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. And I love this cover. I love Promise Me Sunshine's cover. I think that they're so spring summer, and I just love how colourful they are and bright and summery. I love them. These are definitely my favourite covers at the minute. I don't yet own Promise Me Sunshine, but I will. Watch this space. The next question is books that you need to read before the end of 2025. And if we're being so honest, the answer is none, because we don't need to pressure ourselves over here. I hate reading pressure. I hate putting myself under pressure to feel like I have to read something by a certain time, but I definitely have goals to finish a couple of series. And one of them is Throne of Glass. Look how big this is. It's absolutely humongous. Without spoiling anything, how many freaking pages? This is just under 1,000 pages. Oh my goodness. I'm currently on Queen of Shadows. We're tabbing. We're loving. We're loving. I'm going to say that louder for the people in the back. I am loving this book, which is a shock to me, actually. It should have been in my biggest surprise question, because I haven't enjoyed, really, any of the books I've read so far in the series, but I've got to Queen of Shadows and I'm invested. I'm loving it. And I only have, after this book, 3 books left to read in the series, and then it will be another series complete. And I want to get on to Crescent City, actually. That is some of the books. It's here. Here. They're also books that I definitely want to read this year, but I wanted to finish Throne of Glass first before diving into Crescent City. So I will be reading the tandem read and then this monster. That's really my only goal. I'm lying. There is one more book that I feel like I should probably get to, because it's going to be pretty much a classic by the time that I get around to reading it. It's another big boy. I haven't started this series yet, And the reason for this is I have not been in a place where I'm ready to be emotionally destroyed. I do love books that make me feel a lot and make me emotional, but I think the heavy topics in here might just be a little too far for my fragile mind at the minute. So we're not reading this yet, but I hope at some point towards the end of the year I feel like I'm ready for emotional trauma, and I hope I pick this up. We'll see. The next question is, any reread goals for the rest of 2025? I have only reread one book so far this year. Let me grab it. I reread one of my favourite books of all time, and that is The Bridges of Madison County. I quite clearly tabbed it and loved the shit out of it. It's only 180 pages long. 170. It's so small. I reread this because it had been maybe 4 or 5 years since I first read it, and it hit just the same. Sobbed, cried, loved it. But yeah, I'm not a huge rereader, so I only have one kind of hopeful reread, if I'm honest, and it is the Empyrean series. I would love to go back and reread Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, Onyx Storm, and the reason for that is my Onyx Storm reading experience was kind of messy. I feel like I rushed it. I feel like I was a little bit confused because it had been so long since I read Iron Flame. And I think there was a general sort of consensus that a lot of people were confused starting Onyx Storm, but some of the raving reviews about it and like people talking about how much they loved it, I just feel like I was so confused most of the time that I couldn't enjoy it. And it wasn't even on the book, it was just on me for not taking my time to take things in and understand what was going on. Obviously I understand like the general sort of like plot and I know what happened, but the actual experience of enjoying and inhaling all of that content, all of that Xaden and Violet goodness, I just don't think I did it right. So that is my only reread goal for this year, and again, no bloody pressure because I'm not a rereader. I would just like to do that. A book that you enjoyed that has mixed reviews. I actually really struggled when I read this question and I thought, have I actually enjoyed anything that people tend to dislike? The only thing that comes to mind is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, because of course that was so highly anticipated, and if you were in on that discourse before it all came out, I think it was quite anticipated release because we just didn't know how it was going to go, especially because Reckless had like next to zero plot, which I didn't mind, by the way, but because so little happened in Reckless, it felt like a lot had to happen in Fearless, and I actually enjoyed how Lauren Roberts did the majority of the book, up until like the last maybe like 20%, where I feel like everything was super fast and I just wanted to slow the hell down. Other than that, I actually really enjoyed the read. I had a great fun experience, and I'm not wholly satisfied with how she completed the trilogy, aside from the novellas, but I did really enjoy it, and it felt like it wrapped up enough for me to move on. But I will be reading the novella. The next question is, any 5-star predictions for the rest of this year? And surprisingly to absolutely no one that's got this far in the video, I haven't actually read this book yet, but of course I feel like it's going to be a 5-star because this is the 3rd book in the Gods and Monsters series. I also suspect that the 4th book, when it's finally released later this year, will also be a 5-star read, because I just can't see how that wouldn't be the case, because I'm obsessed with these characters and this story and everything that's going on. So this is definitely on the list. I don't want to repeat too much, but I am going to guess that this will probably be a 5-star read for me. This and also Keeping 13. That's definitely probably going to be a 5-star read for me, because what do you mean it's emotional and also a romance? Yeah, and traumatic. Yeah, I'm gonna love it. I know I am. I'm just not ready. And finally, the final question for this tag is, do you have any new reading goals for the rest of 2025? I believe I've spoken about this already on my channel. I am really trying to just read great books. I'm also trying not to buy, let's just pause. I'm not saying I'm not going to buy books, but I want to buy books with intention, and intentionally buying books at a time where I'm ready to read them, or very close to being ready to read them. because I do have a little bit of a habit of picking up books and then they sit on my shelves without being read for a long time. But that's why this channel exists. That's why we do monthly TBRs and different challenges and things like that, so that we can get round to some of the books that have been sat here for a long time. I'm getting more familiar with what I enjoy and also different creators that I trust their recommendations. To summarise, just be conscious. Being conscious about what I read and what I buy, that is my main goal, she says, as she has a brand new empty bookshelf sat right here. How could I forget? I picked 25 books that I want to read this year, and you best believe that I want to read them. I think I only did that video about 5 weeks ago, which means that, you know, I've set that goal recently, and that's because they are my most anticipated reads. They're the books that I want to get to and want to read because I think that I love them. That's my book tag. There we go. I have had a good year in terms of I am reading way more than I expected I would, and I think the quality of books I'm reading is improving throughout the year. I'm having more 4-star and 5-star reads. I hope that the rest of the year is fun and just full of favourite books. I'm hoping that I haven't actually found my favourite book of the year yet, because it's so excited to think that another great 6-star read is just waiting for me to be picked up. As always, thank you so much for watching. I would love to know if you have read any of these books, if you have any recommendations for me based on what we've discussed in this vid. I hope that you decide to stay. Please consider subscribing if you like the vibes here, and also maybe watching someone build a new bookshelf and fill it with lots and lots of books because she has no more space. If that sounds interesting to you, then maybe subscribe. Thank you so much again for watching, and I will see you in my next one.